Why don't they? Why don't they just?
Why don't
Do
they
we have a
just?
why don't they just this week?
Yeah. Joe, you okay?
That was Joe's best response ever.
Joe.exe broke down.
Joe's over there just
Why
thinking
don't
about
they just?
cake.
This
Ooh.
week's Why Don't They Just comes from Jurassic Park Car in Discord. He asked, why don't they just integrate Starlink connectivity into Teslas once it goes online? And I couldn't remember if we had
Feel like
talked
we've
about this
talked
once
about
before or not. I felt like maybe we had.
I think
remember if it's
Elon's
been-
actually talked about this.
I don't remember if it's been an actual, like, why don't they just segment, but we've definitely mentioned it in the show. Mm-hmm. All right, Ben, Mr. Tesla, let's hear it.
Well, Elon talked about it and said you could, certainly, just strap one of those radio antennas or if a phase, what is it, phase array antenna?
Phase array
I forget.
antenna, yeah.
Whatever it is, the receiver for the Starlink would work for sure. But, you may not need that. I think maybe a different or even possibly better approach would be for Starlink to have essentially ground stations. So the satellite can have the network up in space can have a super strong connection to several key points. And then from there, blast it out like citywide Wi-Fi or something like that.
Yeah, or the existing fiber optic
because otherwise,
lines.
otherwise you're going to have to the equipment you're going to have to add to the vehicle is going to add a cost, and may not be necessary, right? Like if you think about those things, it's I think Elon said it before. It's like a game of pennies. So if you're adding a bunch of money there and you're not making more money for it, it might not make sense. Certainly possible, according to Elon. I'd be curious to understand the technology a bit more about how stable those satellites are when you're going 80 miles an hour down the highway, kind of a thing. Because, like, for example, your cell phone does this already. People may not think of it that way, but essentially you'll be connected to a couple different cell towers as you're driving, and as it goes, it's scanning constantly and finding new ones. So that's how your phone can say stream music on a road trip or something like that. So the technology exists in that space. I'm not at all sure how it would work here, but if they could do it and do it reasonably affordably, I'd be for it. I think it'd be cool.
Yeah, Joe, do you have some thoughts? Because I've got some thoughts.
I was looking through this sparked a big, huge conversation in Discord on the Why Don't They Just server, and I was kind of looking in to see what they all had to say about it. Somebody did share a link to a video that a guy made about it says reality check for RVers and boaters for Starlink. Obviously, I've not had a chance to watch it because I'm doing this right now. Talking to you guys. But no, there's been a little bit of a debate back and forth, and I think everybody's kind of settled on that they could actually do this. There was some not negativity, but naysaying, I suppose, at the beginning. And
well, some of the technical challenges for sure, besides what Ben mentioned, is first of all, the receiver's pretty big. From what we know, it's about pizza box size, pretty decent size receiver. And it has to have visibility to the sky. You can't be in a garage. You can't be... So there's always going to need to be a dual antenna system. You'll still have to have LTE connectivity for those times that you're, even in a city. How many of you use satellite radio? It's the same type of thing. In a car, like Sirius and stuff like that, where you might be in a big city between, in a parking garage or in between tall buildings, and all of a sudden you lose connectivity with your radio station, It's going to be like that, but maybe even worse because it actually does have to track satellites moving through the sky, and it has to be smart enough to know its orientation, its exact latitude and longitude, its exact level, and all that stuff in order to be able to precisely track these satellites moving across the sky. And that's why the phase array thing's such a big deal. There's challenges there, but you can do that even like on an airplane or on I remember like famous rappers will have like satellite TV on their Mercedes-Benz SUVs, and it's a dish that is gimbaled that literally no matter when the car is moving down the interstate, the satellite dish continues pointing in the same way. Even if you're taking turns and stuff, it keeps aiming at the satellite and the point in the sky. So it's definitely like everything about it is doable. We've done this in vehicles, but it's definitely a pretty large thing-ish and would need to be integrated, likely under the roof or the hood or the trunk lid or something. But I would love it. I would absolutely love if we had Starlink connectivity.
I'm assuming if you went into a
Teslas.
tunnel, though, you would completely lose
Yep,
signal.
definitely.
Well, and I think that's the interesting point. I mean, forget integrated into a car. Like if you set that idea aside, but you just had a easy portable way of doing it, that would actually be probably a huge step in that direction as well. Like imagine you just have like a suitcase kind of thing. Yeah, you go camping, you go on a boat, you go whatever, and you just once you're stationary, pop it up, hit a button, it does its own thing. I think that would be that we would like to either see before integrated into the car. And then again with the LTE network in the United States and most bigger more developed countries, you probably don't need it, I guess is the point. Like if you can already stream enough stuff, and it's already built up, why do it is the question always.
Especially once 5G gets
Yeah.
really integrated.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still interested as to how that's going to go because, I mean, I don't know. I have a third grade understanding of it, but the challenges for like a moving vehicle were pretty tremendous. So I'm sure there's lots of smart people working on it, but
Yeah, because you have to be within basically line of sight between any receiver, right?
Well, and you saw, I don't know if Marquez did a video on it where they went up to, was it Vermont or somewhere that had it? And then they had like an actual 5G phone and they were he was standing right below the antenna, literally like, 20 feet up directly overhead and just doing a speed test. And you'd see it like switch, like drop in and drop out, like 5G, no 4G, 5G, no 4G. And the connectivity was super spotty, literally standing right below a thing. And so he's looking at it going, well, yeah, clearly that is the millimeter wave form, which is, I mean, I'll just say the real 5G.
Yeah.
Like I think AT&T got sued, right, for calling the 5G equivalent nonsense and all this other marketing crap. Even T-Mobile with this like low band 5G, which is like twice as slow as my 4G. I don't really get you're half as fast as my 4G. What are you? I don't know. Like, so anyways, the actual real 5G that we're all excited for, I think it's, my guess is it sells a long ways ago. So.
Yeah.
Did it give him coronavirus?
I think so, actually. Yeah.
And then he got Bill Gates' vaccine, so now he's tagged for life. And
that's how Bill Gates got all those famous YouTubers to go interview him. Is he gave them all the Rona and then had the vaccines.
Well, so
that's weird though that it's so spotty when you're right next to it.
Yeah.
Maybe it was like a prototype or something. I don't know.
So I would definitely
The
say
wind
to iterate.
blew.
I think in the future that will be an option. I think right now would be a little silly to integrate it before it's too much of a thing. But how cool would that be? Like if they had been secretly putting them in newer, Teslas or something, and then all of a sudden, once Starlink is fully active, they're like, oh, by the way, you can subscribe here. We'll charge you $10 a month for a service that we've already paid for. That'd be pretty hot. I would love that.
Yeah, I think once Starlink is on a wide rollout, Elon's wealth is gonna, make Jeff Bezos look like a poor guy or something. Like it's gonna be bad. I think because imagine the market is not 7 billion people, but how many people are like adults out there? Like 4 billion of the 7 billion people in the world are like, would be potential internet users, and only half of those are online. So if you just look at the market for this, I mean, and if they actually take a page out of Amazon's book, no pun intended, but what you do is you just undercut everyone. So you go in and say, hey, Tim, what is your internet provider charging you? Okay, we'll be $10 cheaper a month. How about that? Okay, cool. And you just
faster.
undercut everyone until you are a monopoly, and then everyone else goes out of business, right?
Yep.
So
I still feel like
that's going to be hard to compete with
it
them.
might be mostly for like developing countries in places that don't have internet right now, where there's not an
or rural
infrastructure
areas.
to. Yeah.
Did you guys see there was a large investment in with the U.S. for trying to make connectivity for certain U.S. municipalities and communities that don't have, like, rural internet access.
Yeah.
There's a big grant. It was in the billions of dollars.
I think, I forget that there's still a lot of people that don't have like broadband internet. Cause like when my wife, had to start teaching from home, she had some students that didn't have internet access.
Yep.
And I was like,
And dial-up
in
is
Dallas.
still a thing
That's crazy.
in
In
some
Dallas,
places.
yeah.
Dial-up is still a thing in some places. So yeah, there's still work to do. Even in one of the most developed countries in the world, there's still work to do.
hey guys, thanks so much for watching this clip from our show. If that's just not enough for you and you want to watch the full episode, you can go to olfpod.com/YT.
And if you want more from us, you can consider becoming a Patreon member. You'll get early access to episodes. You can join our awesome community. You can actually watch us record live and get your name in the credits by going to olfpod.com/Patreon.
So thanks everyone for watching. Check back every Friday for new clips here and new episodes on the main channel.
Thanks, everybody.